I had what we call as a massive spontaneous awakening into my original nature is the official term for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think awakening is a very big terrain. We can have personal awakenings, we can have spiritual awakenings, and then there's these sort of rare kind of awakenings into original nature. And that it's kind of, if we have a personal awakening, I think a lot of your listeners and a lot of your audience really have a direct experience of that and know what that is. And that is like, you've been living your life in a certain way, and then suddenly kind of it becomes really clear that there's so much more to life. And there's some giant insights that just hit you like a truck. And it could be like that you had a baby, like in your life, like it could be, and then just like life pivots from that point and it's just totally different.
Yeah.
And those are so incredible and so meaningful and so important. And it's different territory than a spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening is more like you're living your life in a certain way, and you're a person of a certain sort, and then you have this sort of massive opening into this, like there's this whole other world that isn't this world, and it is so incredibly alluring and so important that the world of you and the person in your life and your kids and your family becomes very secondary. And what actually becomes forefront in a real spiritual awakening is like this deeper dimension of things and this deeper movement, and it becomes so captivating and important and essential and beautiful to focus on that. And the same thing, it's like everything in your life changes from that point on, everything. And so that's like a spiritual awakening. And then an awakening into original nature is to awaken not only out of the person you are, but it's also to awaken fully out of spirituality completely, like the person that you are, spirituality, everything. And it's a vast awakening where one kind of is, every bit of the human being is totally shattered and is seen as only a dream of source. And everything you thought not only of yourself or of life, but everything that ever was or ever will be has completely shattered. And the vast, spacious, connected field of oneness in which everything exists is so clearly who and what you actually are, that everything gets wiped out. It had this movement, I've described it in the past before, as in like, if you're dreaming at night, so you go to sleep and then you're dreaming, and then there's this dream and you're driving this car down this country road, and then suddenly the country road turns into England and it's a castle, and then you're in the castle. In that dream, there's you, right? You're there in the dream. And then there's all these other people, and there's the car and the road and the castle, right? So this is the dream. Now, when you wake up in the morning, you're like, obviously I dreamed everything, right? Like the castle and the road and the car is all was part of my consciousness, even though I was a character in the dream. And so I was the dreamer, right? So if we took that analogy and we put that to my awakening and we say, okay, so then here's Amy and here's Kiran, and we're having this conversation, but this is actually a dream. And I'm in California and Amy's in, Australia, close to Sydney. And then we, so we're in Australia, and then we're suddenly in California. And I woke up to realize I was the one dreaming it all.
Okay. So
I was no longer the Kiran, or in your case, the Amy, or in California, or even that there was California. Like I just woke up to who the dreamer was and the actual dreaming space. And so what that does is like, it's a vast, vast field that people have, I'm sure, heard of this, and this sort of vast spaciousness of which all of life is coming from, is emanating from. And that space is pure connectivity, like pure one, pure the pure peace of all, like the pure total existence. And that movement moves into form that eventually becomes Kiran or Amy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we look at the progression of that, there's this vast movement, and it's actually just a field of deep silence, but it moves, it has movement. And that movement becomes this sort of just a life energy, just a live energy. And then a live energy becomes awareness, which is what's listening to my voice right now, what's looking out your eyes right now, pure awareness. Now that pure awareness isn't localized in Amy's body or Kiran's body. It's awareness, and that awareness itself begins to take on a personhood, and the personhood of Amy or the personhood of Kiran, and then that takes on this physical form of a body and a thing, and then it starts to condense even more and turn into these wounds and these separate stories and these belief systems, and all of this is one vast continuum. And so for that 10 years for me, it was a deep witnessing and watching how this that I am becomes Kiran.
I can imagine there would have been times where you felt like you'd completely lost your mind. And
I literally lost my mind. I literally did. There wasn't, at that time, there was very little thought that could even occur. And I couldn't, there was a few years in there, I couldn't see form. Like I couldn't get to like a couch. Like I was aware of a field that was there and a choice from this vast dreamer that it be a wall or a couch, but I couldn't make out a couch. Like I couldn't see gray pillows.
So did you have family around that were able to help you during this time?
No, I mean, part of the immense challenge for me is that I had no orientation. I did not know what this was. I had no teacher. I had no community, et cetera, et cetera. I did, however, because here's the thing, this vast, spacious field that is bringing into life all that is a resource. You know, it's an immense amount of resource. It is source, like it sources you and it sources me. So it put in the supports, you know, like it kept dreaming me and it dreamed me with supports that came in, but not the way we would normally think of it in terms of like family or community or a teacher or a, you know, it came in different ways, but it came in as in like all this life force, you know, continually dreaming this Kiran and being able to, from the actual life force, watch Kiran, you know, watch that character in the dream, get in the car and drive, like watch very intricately how that integration from pure connectivity into the unique form of Kiran, how life does that, how that's happening, which is
kind of
in
like
fact,
you were just watching over yourself.
Yeah, watching over all of life, like how life becomes human.
Yeah.
And does the human dream, like dreams a human being, which is the epitome of human development work.